Hey, I got it. This is DJ Streak. Thank you so very much for being a part of the show today. And why not just go ahead and get set up? So let me do this really, really quick for you guys. I am going to share. I'm gonna get it right. Share my screen with you right now, and I want to go through a couple of things that I like to do to set up. So go here first so you can see my screen. And of course, it is Monday night, and you're watching DJ Strick on the Streamers Hub. Tonight, we're going to talk about some case studies. But before I do that, it looks like all of my stuff is a little different. I think I changed the platform, excuse me, or the profile, and it's not set up right. So I'm going to show you how I do that right now. And I can just start off with a really quick tutorial of how to set up OneStream Studio. That being said, on the left side of the screen, my left, maybe your right, I'm not really sure which side it is, but I always put the Streamers Hub up in the corner. So I want to be sure that that's there. There it is. So you can see that now. I clicked it one too many times. There it is. It's coming. So my system has been a little finicky today, and I am not sure why. Same reason why I'm having to start over with some of this. That being said, I want to come back to that. Let's just see if my background works. All right, that's good. Change my background. Hmm. We're having fun today. The system is not liking that for whatever reason, but we're going to go with it. I'm going to do what you want me to do today. Okay, I'm not going to fight with you at all. So let me turn this off. There it is. It's decided to show up. And I want to share this with you. If you're hanging out with me and you say, hey, Strick, I love what you're doing. I would love to join the Streamers Partnership Program like you and be on OneStream Live's YouTube channel. Guess what? You could do it. All you need to do is send your profile to contact at OneStream.live. Again, that's I said contact, but it's content. Like you're providing content. It's very easy to see that content at OneStream Live. So all you have to do is just kind of send that over. Again, that's content at OneStream.live. That's all you need to do is really, really simple. And you can hang out and be a part of a show just like mine. So Matt is in hanging out with us on YouTube. So thank you so very much, Matt, for hanging out over there. And let's see if he can get ready and come hang out with us for a little while today because we're talking about case studies. Okay, case studies. So I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to really think about all of the ways that OneStream could be used. I want to talk about one of the ways that I use it on a weekly basis. Okay. So, on a weekly basis, I also work at a church. So, not only do I create content, but I'm also the pastor of ministries, which is our auxiliaries or our volunteer departments inside of a church. I have help manage the volunteers and those department, making sure that as we have new people coming to our church and joining, I actually put them with a ministry lead and they find ways to kind of plug in doing volunteer services at our church. But because of the pandemic, I also started doing the multimedia work. So all of our media work from graphics to videos and announcements and our streaming, I started doing that. Of course, you can tell I know how to stream. So why not use some of that experience to help the local church? So I started working in that area as well. We went through several, trust me when I say this, in 2019, early 2020, the whole world is shut down. I was gonna say city, then I was gonna say nation. Then I'm like, well, the world was shut down, strict. Like everybody was shut down. You literally couldn't go anywhere, which included people coming into the church building. So our church had to figure out how to get the message out through streaming. And one of the ways we decided to do it was we actually decided to do it two ways. One of the ways was for everyone to be in the church service, excuse me, not everyone, all of the people that would participate to be in the church service like it's live. So we had live worship and then our pastor, and we just had a small um, video team videotaping everything or live streaming everything. So that's one way we did it. We actually did it live. All right. And we started doing that for a while and decided there was an alternative. Like we didn't have to do Sunday morning. What if we recorded the service and played it later? So while it was live, of course, there's several different systems out there that I could use, and I found Studio Six through Vimeo, and I was using that, and that was working well. But that's not the best case scenario for it's not the best case scenario when I needed to play pre-recorded videos. So as I'm searching through the internet, I actually found, I want to shout out him right now. Monty Weaver had a video on YouTube talking about church service using pre-recorded video, playing it as though it was live, and he mentioned OneStream Live. And oh my goodness, that changed the way I actually started doing my work or my workflow at the church. So we did have that second option to actually record because we could play it as though it was live. Why is that important? Well, with Facebook, you're able to do, Facebook was a big at that time for the church, bigger than even YouTube. 'Cause, the age demographic, that's where they were, like, they were really there in Facebook. We had a lot of engagement when we would go live on Facebook, so my pastor really wanted to be sure that he was able to do both Facebook and YouTube. That being said, on Facebook, you could premiere your video. So it's not automatically live, but it plays at a particular time. And we noticed that the engagement on pre recorded video versus the premiere went a whole lot better. Like the reason why I knew that because I was actually going into the studio on or the church on Sunday playing the live video as through the same system that I would play or stream through. I was like, there's got to be a better way. And that's how I did come up with trying to use OneStream live at the time. So, studio, of course, wasn't built a couple of years ago. So, OneStream live, and I actually put it all in the system. And I, could say, hey, I set the timer or the schedule for the time that our service would be. And actually, we had a 5 minute timer. So I would put it really at the start time and still count down 5 minutes. And then the service was there, and people could engage with the service like it was a live service. And people did not know the difference. That being said, the use case for that or the case study that I'm talking about to kind of add information is to um, the case study is that this works. It absolutely works, and it still works because I still use the system on a weekly basis. Because now, with this case study, with this particular church, right? I am able to now on Wednesday. So we have a 12 noon service that we actually film live and play, but we take the recording of that and play it later on Wednesday night, like at 7 o'clock Wednesday night. So on a weekly basis, I am still using OneStream Live for our church to actually play pre-recorded video as though it's live. And I'm sorry to say this, but that live button, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Facebook, it gets more engagement than premieres. Like I don't even see people doing premieres anymore. I don't. I don't know. Maybe they stopped doing it. I personally don't see it. It's still a feature or function I know that you can do with Facebook, but the live button I think has a little more engagement. So this is just the case study from my church. Now, there are several different ways that you personally could be using OneStream Live and now OneStream Studio. Because what I'm able to do now is actually have a live stream. Of course, you can still, use pre-recorded video with OneStream Live. That still hadn't gone away, and it's a great feature. Again, I use it every week. But if I'm doing a show like this, I can share my screen, which you guys have already seen, and I can add pre-recorded video to this live stream. And it doesn't matter the size because I'll be playing it from my computer and the what we call the disk from the computer, and you just find it in your system and load it right up, and it is excellent. So I have asked some people from our community to come hang out with me. I said, hey, I'm not the only person that has a use case or a case study for how you could use OneStream Live and now OneStream Studio. And I have a friend, Matt, here. Matt's been hanging out with us every Monday night. So I want to bring Matt on really quick and see if he can hang out with us and tell us, maybe his use case of how he's using OneStream Live or OneStream Studio for his setup. So let me bring him in right now. Hey, Matt, how you doing, sir?
Good, DJ Strick. How you doing,
A good
sir?
layout. That's better right there. There he is. Hey man, I noticed spur of the moment you came into YouTube. I was trying to find you and I couldn't remember where we talked behind the scenes. And then I went through my IG. I said, okay, that's where he reached out to me. So
Yep.
thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I think it's
Yes,
important
man.
for other OneStream live users to see each other. Erica was going to come on tonight. She had an emergency, couldn't come, but I thank you for coming through because
Sure.
how other people use it matters important, right?
Absolutely. Because something that you might use it for, somebody else might not see that use case for them, but so I think it's one of the most versatile pieces of software that I have. Honestly, love it. I I'm constantly messing around with it, toying around with it. I work with some clients that do video stuff, and they actually have sub accounts on mine that they actually are able to use their own social media, use my account to go live on their social media. I have some friends that I've connected with that are in a completely other state that they do podcasting. They do some of their live broadcasts using the OneStream Live platform, and they're set up through one of the sub accounts that they've got. I'm actually getting ready to do my weekly podcasting. I'm actually going to start doing a live stream session as well.
That's
Now
awesome.
that I've found that use case and figured out how to kind of make it work for me based on my show structure. So yeah, it's
Tell
really
me how
good.
you
And
figured it out. Like what are you doing differently that you had to kind of modify just for you?
well, I think so. Um, One of the things that I found initially that I was kind of struggling with was um, I'm a talking head for a lot of my episodes,
Okay.
for a lack of a better term, and so kind of finding a way to implement that and make it more engaging. Because obviously, when you go live, you want to have one of the keys of going live is being able to have some of that immediate audience interaction, audience feedback.
Right.
And I know that when you do your Monday night shows, that's one of the things that you're constantly doing is let me check the chat, let me see if there's any questions, let me answer questions, let me see if we can engage and interact. And so finding a way to it was almost like creating a second show format to match a traditional live stream setup, to where it's not just me talking on a microphone, but it's actually me engaging with a live audience and answering questions and bringing on guests and things of that sort. So it wasn't even necessarily revamping my show, but it was almost creating a second format for my show.
Got you. Got you. That makes sense. And I totally believe in um, getting your audience engaged
Yeah.
because you do get there's a couple of different viewers when you talk about an audience. We're gonna have
Hmm.
people that's gonna sit here and watch. Like they're not gonna type in anything. They might not even click the
Right.
button to say, "Hey, I liked it." They're just gonna watch it, and they really like it. It's kind of like those introverts that you have around you. Like
Sure.
they won't say anything, but they had the best time. We have
Right.
some people that were in our audience that will respond that way. And then you have those people in your audience that love community. They love being a part of the community. They want you to know that you're there. They really like encouraging whoever the leader is or who's the person that's doing the video, doing all
Right.
the talking. And then you do have other people, and it comes with the territory. They are there for the shout out. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that either. Like I'm
No.
completely okay with the people that are wanting to shout out. Guess what? If I can read your name, I'm gonna give you a shout out.
Right.
Sometimes I
But
might
see,
not be able
that's
to read your name.
well, and you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's like when it comes to building that community around your live show, whether it be for a church or whether it be for a podcast or whether it be just because you're wanting to create this live show, people like to hear their own name.
They do.
Okay. So if you take a moment and you just shout out the people that are watching, you shout out the people, thanks for coming, thanks for watching, appreciate the comments in the comment section and in the chat. If you guys have any questions, post it up. I see DJ Strick is here. DJ, thank you for showing up. Matt's here. Matt, thanks for showing up, man. Really appreciate it. If you guys are getting value or if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. People love that and
They
they
do.
eat it up, and it makes them more inclined to engage and continue to follow you, at least from what we found from our experience. So
And I feel the same way. I agree.
yeah.
I really do agree. And you just never know if you're an audience member, you never know when I've been that audience member, number one, that's put something in the chat. The person acknowledges me and says hello. And now I know they know me. So
Right.
if there's ever something I need or if I needed a guest, it makes it easier for me to reach out to them to say, "Hey, would you be on my show?" Or "Hey, you had a nice show." Like I'm a real like encourager type person, so I
Absolutely.
would go behind like inbox people and say, "Hey, your show was great today. And I really like what you said about ABCD," and
Yep.
that really goes a long way to let people that are leading
It
feel
does.
good about the time that they spent. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it just comes back to engagement and building that community and feeling that connection through the camera because it is hard
Yeah,
as a creator, whether it's for personal business or other uses. It's hard to make that connection with everybody that's out there that isn't right next to you, but a good way to do that is to just maintain that consistency and maintain that engagement and being able to. And OneStream Studio is such a phenomenal tool to allow you to do that
right.
because it allows, exactly like we have this format here where you and I are on the same screen, we're both talking, we're both sharing. We can also bring up the chat. You can throw chats that people are putting out there in the comments. You can throw those across the screen and answer them as they're coming through live. I mean, it just, and the number of guests and co-hosts you can bring on to these things, you could really make this almost like a panel
You really
of
can.
experts at any point in time that you want, which just increases the value for your viewers and your community. So OneStream has been a game changer when it comes to just overall web-based streaming platforms, and it's so easy to learn and to get
True.
started.
That's true.
I mean, did you use one of the computer-based platforms before, like OBS or Ecamm Live or any of those beforehand?
So I have used Ecamm. I have
Okay.
used Ecamm, but not and that's actually computer based. Where this
Right.
one is different. It's kind of like browser based. So
Right.
I did use Restream, but I never used their studio option. I saw it, played with it, but never really used it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you how intuitive the system is as far as what it allows you to do. I had to
It's
train on it, Matt. Like I
I
really
know,
had to
but
demo this,
it's
and
so streamlined. I
it
mean, like,
is.
I used OBS because it was free and it was like, oh, it's super customizable. But then how in depth do you really get with your live streams? I mean, like if I really wanted to go that far, I would spend more time building my live stream than I would be actually
That's true.
on my
That's true.
live stream. And that's where OneStream Live and the OneStream Studio becomes so valuable is you don't have to be a nerd or a geek like me to build out this
Me
complex
too.
stream and this complex show. You can just get on with a webcam and a microphone and talk and and engage with your community, and it's so valuable.
That's so
So
true.
important to have that streamlined instantaneous connection.
So, Matt,
So
I want to dive into this because I think we talked about it before, and Eric and I were planning to do something around this, but I think it would be a good conversation for you and I because you said you're already using the team management feature in
mhm.
OneStream Live to actually have other people have access to the features that you have. Can you explain that process and the business model that you're using for that?
So it's I don't I'm not charging anybody for the use at this point. The
But you
two people
could.
that I could, I absolutely could. But essentially what ended up happening was I have a couple of friends that we all kind of started podcasting around the same time, and we've been bouncing ideas back and forth off of each other as far as show format. Are you doing live streaming? Are you doing live podcasting? These guys actually did a few shows, like live in person podcast episodes at
Wow.
local venues around the city that they live in. And I thought, okay, so what if you camera and a laptop and you guys actually went live? And they were like, well, how would we do that? And so I kind of walked them through using OneStream and how they could make that happen with somebody that's manning the computer to actually manage their stream on site for them. And so we kind of started playing with some ideas. And then they just one day they're like, "Hey, we're doing it. Check it out Thursday afternoon. We're going to be live at 2:30 p.m." And I was like, "I'm at work, man. I wish I could." But I caught the tail end of it, and man, it was, I mean, that was their first time really using the studio platform.
Right.
And so it didn't come without its little bumps and hiccups, but for the most part, watching the replay of the show, it went off great. And they have one of those formats where it's just it's almost like ad-libbed. Everything is just kind of off the cuff. It's Nothing
Got
is
you.
really scripted. They start with a topic and they might go from, talking about dinosaurs in the Paleolithic area and end up talking about grandma's apple pie at the end of the episode. I mean, there's really no structure or format or planned scripting of any kind to their show.
So how many cameras were they using?
They were just using the one. So they had a camcorder that they set up with the capture card and they plugged it into their little laptop. And matter of fact, I think it was a Microsoft Surface, just one of the little tablet-based
Wow.
laptops. Yeah. So I was when they told me what they were going to try and use just for you know keeping the equipment to a minimum. I didn't know if they were going to be able to make it work with the studio, but whatever they did with it, I don't know what kind of software or additional hardware they were using for video capture and audio capture, but they were able to make it work. So and that was one of the great things was for them being able to see how simple it was to get once
Hmm.
the equipment was set up. It's literally 5 minutes to log in, type in your live, and go live. You
Wow.
fill out your title and your description, and then within 5 minutes from getting set up, you can be live and on the air. So
That
They
is so
loved
true.
it. They're planning to do some more things like that. They're actually trying to work with some local businesses to let them in and do
Very smart
podcasting,
idea.
right? And actually kind of let those local businesses be the sponsor of the show, and be the remote studio, kind of like a radio remote, if you will.
I
So
like that. That's a
yeah.
great idea. And to be honest with you, Matt, if we think about it, you really only need a camera
Mhm.
and I want to say it's a Rode video mic.
Yep.
Yeah, Rode video mic that plugs. So you need a camera that has a mic plug in.
Yes.
Okay. So a camera that has a mic plug in, and you don't need an interface at that point. And if you
Mm-mm.
get the right camera that has the plug in and the headphones, you can monitor
Yep.
the speaking through the headphones if you have one of those cameras. I think Sony EV10,
Yeah,
uh
the ZV the ZVE Z ZVE10.
DVE10.
Yep.
Hmm.
And it's the mirrorless, but it's got the interchangeable lenses. You get the Rode video mic, which will plug into the mic input, and then you can actually use the USB-C output from the camera and Sony's software to turn it into a webcam. So now you've got a professional grade, you know,
Right.
essentially mirrorless DSLR webcam
Camera, which is an
with your
excellent
audio
picture.
in. Yeah, I mean it's super streamlined, and that's the great thing with OneStream Studio being web based. You don't even have to have a super high powered computer either,
No,
because
you don't. He's
because
using the
the
internet.
load is put onto the server on the internet, not on your computer so much. So
So
yeah,
guys,
I
hear
mean
this.
it's
We're really like I didn't think it was gonna go that way, Matt, but teaching people the basics to getting started, I think is the
yeah.
best thing. Now, I want to go to the next level. You say, hey, that's great,
Hmm.
but I want a two camera shot. Let me
Okay.
tell you how you do that. It is now you step up to two cameras. They can be I still would say, to be honest with you, if you're mobile, uh, right now I'm telling people, Matt, that the Sony EV10,
The ZVE10. Yeah.
ZVE10, thank you.
Yeah.
That's just the camera to go to if
Yeah.
you are using it for streaming, whether you're in a studio like where I am, or even if you're mobile, it's going to give you great quality picture. And if you've already heard how the plugins could work. Now,
Oh yeah.
if you want to take it a step further and you want to have two microphones, I still would agree. You can plug in that Rode video mic in, or now you have a interface that you
Yep.
plug two mics into. Five state. That's a good interface to use. Trying to see if there's another one on top of my mind because I wouldn't go up to the Roadcaster or the um,
Road Yeah, Roadcaster's a little bit much for
yeah,
that. If
it
you
would
wanted
be a little
to,
much.
you could use something like the Elgato Wave XLR, but
That's
that's still for a
exactly,
single.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It,
that's still for a single.
it doesn't
Um,
have two. It didn't have two inputs.
I don't think it has two. I think it has one. Or you could use one of their USB microphones. And they're powered by USB-C. They have both a condenser and a dynamic. So depending upon the type of sound that you're looking for,
Right.
they do have like two in, one out audio interfaces from Focusrite, from
Focusrite is what I was
Freesonic.
trying to say. That's
Yeah,
the Scarlet
the
Focusrite.
Scarlet Eye 2x2, I think, or 2x4, whatever it is.
So those are interfaces I would go
Mm-hmm.
with the Sony. Say it for me again. I get the initials wrong.
VVE10.
There you go.
Yep.
Those cameras, and then I would go with the Shure MV7s for
Yeah.
microphones for
Sure.
podcasting.
Well, on the Shure MV7s, you don't even need an interface for. They're direct USB.
Yeah,
So,
that's true because they are interfaces. Like the interfaces is
right.
built in. But
And
could
they
you
still
use two of those? Can you use two at one time?
sure, why not? As long as the computer that you're using has enough inputs.
USB inputs. So you might need an
Correct. Yeah.
adapter depending on what kind of computer you have.
Yes, and the great thing about those too is because they are USB interfaces built in, they have the volume control, they have your gain control, they have your headphone control,
All that's
and
on
they
the
have the
mic.
headphone jack out on the microphone. So it itself becomes your microphone and your interface
I
and
don't
your monitoring station.
know why I'm
There you
just
go.
talking about
I,
it.
s-
I could just show the doggone thing.
I was I was about to say you got a whole slew of them
I
back there,
do.
man.
I do. So one of them is the SN7B, and then
SM7B,
I
which
have one
is
of
the gold
these.
standard.
Mm.
Yep.
So this one actually gives you um, the USB or XLR,
Right.
um, but so USB mic. So this is a microphone and an interface all in one that plugs
Yeah.
into your computer using USB. So the idea is what we're talking about, guys, to kind of catch you up, is that Matt has a friend is using his account and they are doing mobile podcasting in some of the local area businesses. And we're just
Yes.
telling you how you could do something like that and the equipment that could be involved. Like
Yep.
you don't have to think I need all of this equipment really, because OneStream Live and OneStream Studio is browser based. You really just need a really good internet connection, okay?
Mhm.
Because their servers, Matt has already said it, is taking the load of doing all the computing that you need. What you
Correct.
want to be sure is you got a good camera, you got some good lights, and some a great microphone, and it doesn't have to break the bank to do it. I think
Yep.
the Sony that we've been talking about camera wise, maybe $800. Now, of course,
Yeah, I think the body with a kit lens is $799.99, depending upon where you buy it. Last I checked, my local Best Buy didn't have it, but I mean B&H Photo,
right.
Amazon. I mean, you pick any one of the e-retailers, and you can probably find it somewhere for about that price, between 750 and 800. I would love Sony to give me one, but they won't.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. I got to figure out who the Sony rep is and see if we can have a conversation.
Right. Right. But no, I mean, the other thing too, while you were talking, was I was thinking about, because I was thinking about how Patrick and Scott are doing their podcast at the local businesses, and local food banks, or um shelters, be it, women's shelters, or like just any local charity. They could literally set up for like a food drive. They could set up a food
Right.
drive with a live camera and do their drive-a-thon or their food-a-thon for 24 hours or 48 hours, and people can and call in and pledge money, or they can bring and donate food, and they can um they can measure it by the pound, and every time somebody brings in a big old load of food, then they can have put their graphics on screen, and they can show the increase. And there's just so much that can be done with the OneStream Studio, that it's so simple once you get started, and it doesn't require a lot of financial investment to be able to bring a high quality live stream show to your audience.
So, and thank you for saying that, Matt. And that makes such a big difference compared to some other things that are out there. I started talking about the case study of how I use it for a church to be able to play recorded video as it is live because
Right.
it just has a little bit better engagement when people see the live button. That
Mhm.
being said, there's so many things you can get or that we are getting now feature wise, and I have to go back to what you said. And before I do that, Domino Entertainment is in the building. He said hybrid events is definitely the way to go. And I completely
Yes.
agree. When you're able to do those hybrid events, it just makes a difference for you as far as your engagements. You know why? Because if you have a studio audience, people
Mhm.
that are there that you can engage with, and people online, it's nonstop entertainment.
Yep, absolutely. Well, there's also an element of social proof that goes along with that too. If if you're doing a hybrid event, let's say at a mall or at a business or in a church, and you've got people that are live in the audience engaging that makes it more engaging for the studio or for the live stream video audience because they're seeing the engagement, you know, up front and in person at the actual event. So it
Right.
provides a little bit of an element of social proof, and so there's that aspect if you really want to look at it from that. But yeah, I totally agree. Domino is 100% on point with that. So
So one of the things I don't want to miss with this feature, and I want to get back to the equipment too, because I love Matt talking about the equipment and setup. Because sometimes these things could be difficult for people to kind of understand. Like, what should I
yeah,
do? You know, in the studio setup that we have. Let me just talk about this. Let's just go to equipment. In the studio setup that we have, you have the ability to change the cameras if you have more than one camera connected to your computer.
correct.
Now, it is not hotkeyed, and
No,
it is basically you're pulling your mouse. It can be a little cumbersome. How do you overcome that and have a smoother transition? All right, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. One
yeah,
of the ways is connecting your cameras to like an ATEM Mini. All right. The
hmm,
ATEM Mini is another box that you can get that
oh yeah,
has four inputs and one HDMI output that could go directly into your computer. So now you have that in front of you and you're talking, you're able to change the cameras. And it's just like uh, studio only sees one camera, which they'll see the ATEM Mini camera. And then you're able to change between the two or three cameras or four cameras that you have in a setup, and
yeah.
that's how you can get around that. What do you think about that, Matt?
Well, I think the ATEM is one. You know, if you were if one of the things that I like, and I was trying to pull it up to see if I could create, but it's my phone is actually like the worst timing ever. My phone decided it wanted to do an update right now, so it's
Right.
kind of down for the count. But there is an app that you can get on both Android and iPhone called ePost Cam, and essentially what it is it's an Elgato based software, but it allows you to stream using your phone's cameras. So you can do either the front facing camera for like a selfie shot, or you can do the back facing camera and use it as like a live walk around. And so what I was going to do was I was going to show you actually my setup. I have a webcam here. It's just a simple $100 webcam that I think it provides a great picture. I've got a little bit of
Yep.
lighting, um, and I've got an old camcorder that's happens to be digital off to my side over here, and I can switch between this camera, my my camcorder over here off to my side, and if I were able to get my phone to hook up, I could also use that. And so it's doesn't even you don't even necessarily need to go out and buy a whole bunch of new hardware yet. Take advantage of the things that you currently have. You know, I had this webcam laying around that I bought, about a year and a half ago for the whole COVID thing when I was doing a lot of video conferencing with work back and forth.
It does look good, Matt, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, it's only a 1080, but it streams in 60 frames per second, and it's a it's a live streaming webcam. I mean, doesn't have to be anything special as long as you're getting the interesting
I
thing
didn't get
is
that. Could you try?
Siri is trying to talk to me right
Oh,
now.
yeah, I
So,
hear
but the interesting thing is, and there's been study after study after study done, and you probably know this just as well, if not more so than anybody. People are more likely to watch a stream that has poor video quality but great audio than they are a stream that has great video and poor audio.
right,
Because you
right.
can get a whole lot more information from the audio side that you don't necessarily need the visuals for.
That's
But
true.
the flip side is not so true because you could throw a graphic on screen, but if there's not somebody there that you can easily hear and understand to explain that graphic, you may not get the context of it.
So, I've
So
heard a
I guess
couple people name it a couple of different ways, Matt. Like it's a real thing that is called ear fatigue.
yeah.
When someone has to work hard to understand you, it really does tax the brain, and you
Mhm.
don't want someone listening to you or being a part of what you're doing in your stream, and they're straining their brain to hear
Right.
you. They're gonna check out.
Right. And and that's one of the things that they're finding more and more with, especially with things like what I do with podcasting, is the longer the podcast, the more likely you are to have incomplete listens on your shows, right?
Got you.
And so, um, there's only so many Joe Rogans out there that can stand to do a 3.5 hour long podcast and actually get somebody to sit through the whole thing. Most
Right.
people are not that entertaining. Um, but yes, ear fatigue is a very real thing. And at some point, you know, um, is it something, and I don't know, because I heard about it and I kind of started reading a little bit more about it. Does it have something to do with the frequencies of the voice, or whatever they're hearing at some point becomes so consistent that their eardrums almost like tune it out? Or is that
The issue is when you have bad audio, your brain is trying to sift
filter it?
through the bad audio to hear the person, and it really is working harder than it has to.
Yeah.
All right, it's working harder than it has to. Um, and you're right in saying it. I've seen some people go viral. There was a guy that was doing relationship conversations, and when he started the video that went viral, he was in the shadows.
Yeah.
But the content was so good. I
Right.
mean, it was controversial, it was drama. He said some
Sure.
controversial things, and it just went viral, but no one cared about what it looked like. The
Hmm.
audio was crisp and clean and clear, and people heard what they needed to hear to have that. Now, of course, as after he went viral, more of his content, he did had better lighting. He got better and better over time with his
Oh,
video,
sure.
but, he still went viral, and he was literally in the shadows.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
there's
and
something for people to think about.
maybe it's the shadows that created the dramatic flare.
It could have been. It could have been. It worked for him. Definitely it worked
Yeah.
for him because I
I
mean, I'm
mean,
talking about over like some of his videos, over 200,000 views and
oh yeah.
all of that. Multiple videos. Every time he dropped one, it would be,
Yeah.
so many listeners. And if he was live, like I've never seen such a live host. He was like, "Listen, I got 100 people on right now. I only have 20 likes. If I don't get 50 likes in the next minute, I'm closing down the live." I was like, "Wow!" And people go to clicking.
Hey man, when you have that many eyes on that are just waiting on bated breath to hear what you have to say next, it's easy to kind of do that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
you
you can
know?
push them around a little bit. I get
Right,
it. I get
right.
it. I get
But
it.
no, I love talking about the equipment, and versus, because some of the things that you've brought up, like the multiple camera setup and the A10 Mini, which is a phenomenal piece of kit. Don't get me wrong. And if I could afford, if I had a need for an A10 Mini at this point in time with multiple cameras, I would absolutely have one.
Got you.
If Sony decided they wanted to, donate multiple Sony EV10, ZV-E10s to me, to where I would need to have to buy one, or maybe don't donate them to you so that you would have a need for an A10 Mini, I could see that being a necessity. And there are kind of different studies out there that discuss the length of visual attention, um, is somewhere between 8 and 14 seconds for the average human being. So if you're not changing scenes every 8 to 14 seconds, you have a likelihood of losing the attention span of your audience. So doing a multicam setup can be very beneficial for longer live streams,
That's
depending
right.
upon how engaging the audio content is. But is it necessary? No. If you decide you want to explore that option, though, you don't have to break the bank to do that. Get yourself a couple webcams, or get download the ePost Cam app on your phone. Use an old digital camcorder. As long as it's got some sort of HDMI output, you can have a capture card, which are super cheap. You can buy them on Amazon for like 35, $45 nowadays. So it doesn't have to be in this extravagant, exorbitant expenditure to create a live stream. I think
Right.
if you took the mic that I have, well, let's case in point. If you took an Elgato mic, a good quality Elgato, USB mic for 125 bucks, plus an Elgato camera, or maybe it's a Logitech or whatever the case may be. I mean, you spend 250 bucks and you've got everything you need for a good quality live stream with decent audio. That's it.
There you go. There
You
you
know,
go.
and this right here is a great tool. It's a
I agree.
great tool.
I agree. I mean, there are tons of videos out
Oh
right
yeah.
now pitching the iPhone 14. I think it's the Pro or maybe the Pro Max,
Hmm.
like comparing it to other $1,000 cameras. Like what you can
Yeah.
do with that phone now is, from a camera perspective, is really, really big. I have a 12 and it's still usable
Oh
with
yeah.
video. I mean, I make that 12 work because I, kind of know
Yeah.
how to dial it in a little bit. That being said, the reason why I mentioned the A10 Mini, now I've already said you can go through the studio and change the cameras.
Yes.
Basically, it's a mouse click.
Hmm.
Now, however smooth or not smooth you are, you can change the cameras inside of the studio.
Yep.
So if you wanted multiple camera shots, there's a way for you to just go to the arrow where it says camera and you can change it. That
Yes.
being said, if you want it to be a little smoother in those changes, you would need, other than a mouse click and arrow to show the cameras and then clicking the camera you want and going back and forth that way. If
Yeah.
you're a one-man band like me, that could be a little difficult and stay engaged. So
Sure.
having a A10 Mini, if there is a real use case for multiple cameras. Now,
Hmm.
I feel like for what I'm doing, we talked about being talking heads, having this one view is good. There may be another case for a second camera, but man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am really into, or used to be really into, changing scenes a lot,
Hmm.
but I've found out that I was more distracted in the conversation that I wanted to be. So I wanted to take more time. So if we had multiple people on, I can ask a question, come out of the conversation and change the slide. But when it's
Right.
just one on one, I wanted to be sure that I engaged the other person as
Yeah.
much as I could, because at that point, the content is a little, I wanted to be sure the content was first versus
Sure.
me making it look good and I'm not as engaged because I'm coming in and out of the conversation.
Right. And a lot of that has to do with, I mean, like me, I was still trying to see if I could get that camera up on my phone just so I could show, because every time we talk about it, I'm like, this is such a cool app. People got to
Right,
see what this can do. But
right,
but even me looking down at my phone, it looks like I'm disengaged from the conversation. I'm still looking at you. I'm still listening, and we're still having a conversation. But yeah, I can see where having that scene switching as a constant thing can become almost more. Well, it's definitely more workload for you as the show producer, especially if you're a one man band. You
right.
know, and so it's okay. It is okay to have, when I said that whole thing about the 8 to 14 seconds attention span, that's in no way, shape, or form me saying you have to change your scene every 8 to 14 seconds.
Got you.
And I think the key that you hit the nail right on the head, which is the content itself is more important than the visual aesthetics of the show. And I think ultimately that's what it boils down to.
And I
Is
think it's a balance, man. I really
it,
do feel like there's a balance.
I
I really
agree,
do.
but if you have to pick one over the other, make sure your
Pick the
content
content.
is solid,
I,
you know,
I'm
because
ringing the bell over here. Ding, 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 ding. That's completely true. That's
right.
completely true.
I mean, you can only put so much lipstick on a pig. The thing's still a pig, so
Still a pig. Still a pig. That is that's right. That's right. Man, I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me tonight.
yeah.
Like this is a good conversation.
I
I know
always
we
enjoy
talk.
jumping on with you, DJ
Oh
Strick.
man, it makes a difference. So I want to say this now. You have an opportunity, Matt, to say, "Hey, this is some of the content that I'm creating or have the ability to create." Because we talked about this before. We talked about people wanting a opportunity. I'm trying to put it on the screen. wanted the opportunity to be a part of our
The
partner
streamers program.
program.
Yep. The
So
streamers
the
partner
stream
program.
partnership program. So people that want to be a part of that, all you have to do is email your profile to OneStream.live. So it's content at OneStream.live. Normally I'm saying this when I'm looking at the file, but I couldn't bring the file up. So
Oh
there you
no.
go.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're having a fun night over here. We're having a fun night over here.
That's
That
all
being
right.
said, Matt, do you have like your podcast that you're doing right now at a place where people could hear it, view it, or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're actually getting ready to start a whole new it's not, I wouldn't call it a season, but we between being gone for work for a while and doing a whole lot of other things that were my focus. I did some take some time off for the podcast, but I'm actually getting ready to relaunch. They're starting to come out every Wednesday morning, so check for it. It's called The Existential Man. Um, there's I do have a key audience. We focus on the issues and struggles that are found for men 18 to 34 years old or a little bit older. um and also for women that maybe have a man in their life in that age range that it's going through some things in their lives that maybe need a little bit of a helping hand or a community to join. So it's called The Existential Man. It's available on all your podcast platforms. And you see the little red symbol with the guy with the black silhouette in there. That's it. So it's very simple. Just find it. It's called The Existential Man. And I really hope you guys go take the opportunity to check it out. And let me know what you think. We have a 800 number that you can hear on there that you can call and leave voicemail questions,
That's
email,
awesome.
all those ways. So yeah. And
I got to get
man,
you hooked up with Volley as well.
okay. And I need to get you on there too.
Man, I would love to do it. So I'm sitting here thinking, I was waiting for you to get through it because I like that number one, that you know your niche, like
Yeah.
you clearly have a niche, and then that niche is helping someone else. Guys, he's checked both the boxes, niche down, and then make sure that that niche is supporting or helping a community. That's how you grow. So all
Yeah.
you need now is content, and continue to do it over time. You will build an audience. And you said that, hey, I'm doing this for the men at this age range and for women that are helping me. So you have an
Right.
audience of men and women that could get
Yeah.
information that will help them be better men and help them support men better as well. Dude,
Yeah.
you knocking it out the park, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I
We
love
we
that.
had a little bit of a break because I had a lot of stuff going on. Had to kind of reframe, refocus, and get ready to re-engage. But I'm ready. I'm getting ready to release my next episode this coming week, actually in 2 days, and then I'm actually talking about doing a live stream, a weekly live stream, trying to figure out what day in the week that's going to work best for me. And actually, later in the year, we're probably going to be partnering with a couple of other organizations, podcast creators, and so we'll talk about this later, but it's going to be a multi-day virtual men's summit is what I'm trying to
Oh, I
do.
love that.
So talking about anything and everything from spirituality to physical and mental health, financial well-being and financial growth, building a side hustle or finding your passion to create a side hustle from. So all those things are kind of topics of exploration for us for that men's summit, and they're just going to be, I mean, that's all of those topics are really things that we explore on the podcast anyways, but bringing in experts and people that have found success in all of those areas, that's really kind of the goal of the men's summit. So we're still working on putting that project together, but it's something that I have as a goal before the end of the summer this
Okay.
year, and I'd like to do it annually. So it's a hefty project, but it's something that I really think could benefit a lot of people, a lot of young men that maybe are finding difficulty finding or that are having difficulty finding a little bit of direction in their lives in today's society. So
I love it. I support you any way I can, Matt. I'm saying that honestly. Let's continue to talk about what you're doing, and
yeah.
I'm sure this is not the last time you'll be on the Streamers Hub.
Oh
I have to
no.
bring you back.
Well, I'll be on here every Monday night anyways because I really enjoy supporting you guys, and I love what OneStream's doing. I love what you're doing as far as bringing the education to the people, and I always enjoy the content, and it's always a pleasure to come on here with you, DJ Strick. So I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey guys, do me a favor. Go ahead and pencil me in next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Streamers Hub. Why? Because we're doing some important stuff with some great content to help you as you are one stream livers in the Streamers Hub doing studio work. We just want to be able to help you do it better. So hang out with us again. That's every Monday night, 7 p.m. on the OneStream Live's YouTube channel. That's where you
Yes.
can find us. Hey guys, thank you again. I'll see you next. Hey, this is DJ Strick, and I've had an awesome time with you today. Thank you for watching another edition of the Streamers Hub right here on OneStream Live.